Welcome back to another video, folks. I've been working on a few projects related to but not directly involved in the farm, and I wanted to share about one in particular, a budding book project that's been on my mind for about a year that I'm just starting to dive into. So I'm excited to share about that and hopefully solicit some thoughts and excitement from other farmers. As usual, please like the video and leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps the channel grow and it helps me know what types of videos to put out and whether folks like and enjoy and are learning from the content that we're making here. So about a year ago, I spawned the idea for a project that was really inspired heavily by a lot of the reading I was doing at the time, primarily the works of Wendell Berry. And he writes a lot about human relationship, and particularly that of marriage and intimacy and intimate relationships between humans, and the relationship, as he sees it in his experience, between enduring, long-lasting human relationships and long-lasting, enduring forms of land stewardship. And it got me thinking a lot about how many folks I know have gone into farming as a couple, whether that's as a married couple or whether a longer-term partnership emerged from a farm partnership. And yeah, it's an inspiring topic to think about how many folks are called to an agrarian life in a way that involves partnership with a loved one. And those are some stories that I'm curious about capturing and hearing more about, because we talk a lot about the technical aspects of farming and, you know, techniques and practices and kind of the how-to, and the stories aren't captured as much, those intimate stories of how to make a relationship work within a complex business, within a business that's working with a landscape, and a lot of times working with a landscape for the long term, and just the nuances and differences between, you know, an ordinary marriage with typical kind of 9-to-5 working life and an agrarian entrepreneurship marriage. So yeah, it's a topic that I started rumbling on about a year ago and just kind of asking questions to folks I know and starting to get to a point where I'm crystallizing some of the thoughts around how I want that project to look. And I'm excited to get started on that, you know, as we move more into winter. And really, I think I'm going to just begin with collecting a series of interviews with farmers who have been in love and been in relationship at different stages of their farm and different stages of their relationship. So I think hearing the stories of folks who are just getting started out, perhaps are newlyweds or just getting to know one another in this new context of farming together, folks who've been doing it for decades, and you know, folks who perhaps one partnership didn't work out, or you know, they worked out in a marital sense but the farming didn't necessarily work out, and hearing about why that might be the case and what can be learned from those experiences as well. So I've started to compile a bit of a list of folks that I know personally, as well as some folks that I know secondhand that from a distance I admire and am curious about their relationship. And you know, at this point, if there are farmers watching this, please reach out if you feel like you have stories to share about your experience farming in love and farming in a relationship. I think that the primary focus of the project is going to be on weaving the stories of how persisting through and growing a marriage and a happy, long-lasting, loving relationship has parallels to some of the things that you have to do to have an enduring, lasting relationship with a piece of land. You know, it requires some sacrifice, it requires a lot of responsibility, It requires a lot of curiosity and willingness for mutual growth. And I think that more parallels will emerge the more I talk to people. But at this stage, it's very clear to me that there's a lot of parallels between the two. And I'm just really inspired and curious to explore that further. When I say marriage, I don't necessarily mean that's restricted to just the legal document that binds two people in that sense. But I see marriage as a little more nuanced and having more to do with a willingness to grow together and an intention to be together for a long time. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean that there's the legal component tied to it. So that opens up the door to talk to a lot more folks in a lot more types of relational contexts. And yeah, just really excited to hear different people's stories and find the commonalities and the differences. And I think that generally, as I said before, with how much information has emerged in the last few decades on all kinds of growing practices, I'm really interested in learning the stories and more of the human element and some of the more complex aspects of running a business like this and living with the land, because as far as I see it, you can have all the practices dialed in and have a profitable, functioning business, but if the people aren't satisfied and if the relationships between you and yourself and you and your significant other, you and your community aren't satisfying, then it's really hard to make it work no matter how dialed in the production might be. So I'm just really curious and excited to learn from others and share those stories. I really want to capture some important questions and learn about the patterns and differences between different people's experiences. You know, why is it so common that people in a relationship want to start a farm together? What are some of the challenges that come with that, and how have people overcome some of those challenges? I think that particularly of interest to a lot of folks is the family element and finding that balance between running a farm and having a high quality of life where you can balance time with your children and with your significant other and, you know, live a satisfying life that doesn't just involve running the farm 24/7. And I think there's a lot of people who've figured that out and a lot of knowledge and wisdom to spread far and wide, because I think that those types of quality of life outcomes don't come by mistake. I think they come by intention and design and constant practice and effort to make it work. So if some of those elements can be interesting and useful to folks, I think that, you know, it's a big missing piece in some of the literature out there about farming, at least in this day and age. So it's just a little update about a project that I've started working on that I'm really excited about. And like I said, if you're watching this and feel like you or someone you know has a story worth sharing that's relevant to this topic, then, you know, please reach out, because yeah, anyone who wants to share, I'm excited to hear and reflect their stories back. I think it's a really potent experience for us to go through right now too, in that we've been together for close to a decade and married for almost half of that. And we're in a new stage running a business together and really farming together in this way. So I envision it being a really potent learning opportunity to hear from so many different people at so many different stages. And I think it could be a useful resource for folks who are also just getting started out. I'd really appreciate it if you left a comment letting me know if this is a topic that's exciting and sparks the same amount of curiosity for you as it does for me. And yeah, stay tuned on future updates. I'm really excited this winter to start getting more into this and diving deep into this project. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.